We all know that animals are different sizes. For example, a small mouse versus a large elephant. But despite the huge amount of variation in the size of these two animals, the cells of these animals are able to maintain their size. And we know that this holds true between two different species and within one single species also, even humans. Sorry, I got off track. Within a single species, even humans. So we know that larger organisms or larger humans are actually made up of more cells, not bigger cells. And we know this because of data that was discovered in the 1950s. It tells us that nutrients from food we eat and growth factors that are produced in our body allow a cell to first double its DNA and then double in size before dividing. And this ensures that the cell will remain the same size over time. But how does a cell truly know when it should multiply and how large it should get? Well, at Harvard University 20 years ago, Lewis Cantley found that nutrients and growth factors are actually able to control the production of protein within a cell. And this is accomplished by inhibiting a factor within the cell known as tuberin. Now, to break this down for you, proteins in a cell are what give the cell its structure. Very similar to the way that the floor, the walls, and the roof of a house all give the house its structure. Now, if a cell wants to get bigger, it simply needs to build more proteins, similar to building an addition onto your house. But eventually, as time passes on and more proteins are packed into the cell realizes it has double the amount of proteins, and this is when it's time to divide. But how does a cell truly know or sense when it's reached this critical mass? And what's holding it back from dividing until it reaches this size? Well, this is the question my master's is concerned with addressing. And by doing living experiments using human cells, we've been able to determine that the factor tuberin is actually responsible for holding a cell back from dividing too quickly. And this is significant and exciting for us because nobody ever knew this before. It affects all of us also because if your cells divide too quickly, it can result in diseases such as cancer. But on the flip side of this, if a cell grows, reaches that critical mass, and doesn't divide, it results in giant cells, and this is characteristic of a disease known as tuberous sclerosis. And this affects the brain cells of small children, which can be equally as dangerous as cancer. So understanding the relationship between cell size and cell division is critical for understanding how these diseases manifest and how we can come up with treatment options for people suffering these diseases. This balance between cell size and division truly does matter. Thank you.